There's a scene in Resident Evil 9 where Leon Kennedy, age 49, sick, dying from a virus that's been living inside him since 1998, walks through the ruins of Raccoon City, finds what's left of Robert Kendo's gun shop, and discovers a small pile of bones. Kendo's daughter, the little girl he couldn't save 28 years ago. He stands there. He doesn't crack a joke. He doesn't have a one-liner. He just apologizes. And if that moment hit you different from anything Leon's ever done in this franchise, it's because RE9 isn't a game about Leon fighting monsters. It's a game about Leon fighting time, fighting what Raccoon City left inside him, literally and figuratively. And I think it's the most important chapter in one of the greatest character arcs in gaming. So let me break it down, all of it, from hungover rookie to dying legend. But first, quick thing, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, show some love, press that subscribe button. Alright, let's get into it. Before we go back to 1998, I need you to understand what RE9 actually does. Because if I tell you Leon's history, this is a wiki article, and you don't need me for that. Here's the thing that Capcom did that nobody expected. They made Leon vulnerable. Not gets knocked down and cracks a joke about it vulnerable. Actually dying. Raccoon City Syndrome, a latent T-virus strain that's been dormant in his body for 28 years, has activated. Black marks spreading across his skin, coughing blood, and it's terminal. No known cure. For the first time in the franchise, Leon Scott Kennedy is not the strongest person in the room. The action hero is deteriorating in real time. His gameplay sections literally reflect it. He coughs during combat. His character model shows the infection spreading. And the game slowly strips away the power fantasy you spent decades associating with the character. And then there's a new protagonist, Grace Ashcroft, an FBI analyst, not a soldier, who Leon eventually has to pass the torch to. He gives her his weapon. That scene is loaded with meaning, but you can't feel the weight of it unless you know what this man has been through to reach this point. So now, let's go back to the beginning. Leon Scott Kennedy, born 1977, Italian-American, had a traumatic childhood. His family had ties to crime, and they were all killed. A single police officer saved his life, which inspired him to become a cop. Simple origin, hero origin really. He graduates the academy at 21, requests assignment to Raccoon City Police Department, specifically because he's interested in the unsolved murder cases in the Arklay Mountains. This kid is running towards the thing that will break him. September the 29th, 1998, his first day. He's supposed to report to the RPD. Instead, he's hungover in a motel after drinking himself unconscious the night before. He'd just broken up with his girlfriend who didn't want to move to the city. He drives late, and what he finds is the end of the world. Zombies everywhere. He meets Claire Redfield. They get separated after their car is destroyed. He reaches the police station and finds almost every officer dead or turning. Lieutenant Marvin Brannan gives him one last briefing before succumbing to infection. Leon meets a little girl named Sherry Birking hiding in the station, and in the basement, he encounters Ada Wong, a corporate spy pretending to be looking for her missing boyfriend. But here's the detail that recontextualizes everything about Leon. In a file from RE6, Leon admits that during that night in Raccoon City, he considered killing himself. He thought about putting a bullet in his own head rather than face what was happening, but he couldn't do it because Sherry was depending on him. A child needed him, and that was enough. You see, this is the core of Leon Kennedy. When the darkness closes in, someone else's survival gives him a reason to keep going. Remember that, because RE9 comes back to this exact idea 28 years later. He escapes the city, Claire leaves to find her brother Chris, and then the government shows up. Leon and Sherry are both apprehended. Sherry is taken into protective custody as a research subject. Leon is interrogated by Adam Benford, a high-ranking military intelligence officer. And here's where the tragedy really starts. Leon was considered to know too much. His survival proved he had anti-BOW combat skills the military desperately wanted, so he was given an ultimatum. Not a job offer, an ultimatum. Work for us, or Sherry loses her protection? Leon agreed, not for his own life, but specifically on the condition that Sherry would be kept safe. At 21 years old, Leon's life stopped being his own. He didn't choose this career, he was leveraged into it using the one thing he couldn't refuse: someone else's safety. Now here's where I'm going to say something that might be controversial, but I actually believe it. RE4 Leon, the coolest character in gaming, is a man in survival mode pretending to be fine. Leon is 27, elite government agent, sent to rural Spain alone to rescue President Graham's daughter Ashley from a parasite cult called the Los Illuminados. And this is the Leon most people fell in love with. The jacket flip, the roundhouse kicks, your hand is coming right off, effortlessly cool. But 2 years before Spain, he was sent to South America on Operation Javier with a partner named Jack Krauser. During that mission, Leon confided in Krauser about the horrors of Raccoon City. They bonded, and then Krauser was discharged after an injury, reportedly died in an accident, only to show up in Spain very much alive, having betrayed Leon and joined a rival organisation. Leon had to fight him, nearly killed him. And then there's Ada. She shows up in Spain too. They have this charged, complicated dynamic. She clearly cares about him. He clearly can't quit her. But at the end of the mission, she steals the pragma sample and leaves him to escape and explode an island. She does toss him a jet ski, which is very on brand for Ada, but the point stands. Leon's one romantic connection is a woman who will always choose the mission over him. So the one-liners, the cockiness, the effortlessly cool demeanour, that's not confidence, that's armour. You watch RE4 and think Leon's having a great time. But this is a man who was suicidal at 21, blackmailed into government service, betrayed by his combat partner, and repeatedly abandoned by the only woman he's ever cared about. The jokes aren't fun, they're a coping mechanism, and the armour starts to crack. RE6, 2013. Leon is 35. He's at Ivy University in Tall Oaks with President Benford, the same Adam Benford who recruited him back in '98. Benford has risen to the presidency and is about to publicly reveal the truth behind Raccoon City. Then a bioterror attack hits. The Z virus is dispersed. Benford is infected right in front of Leon, turns into a zombie, and Leon has to shoot him, his mentor, the man who shaped his entire adult life. Leon pulls the trigger himself. Let that sit for 1 second. The man who coerced Leon into this life is also the man Leon was closest to it in, and Leon had to execute him. Then there's the CGI movie Resident Evil Vendetta set in 2017. Leon had lost his entire squad to a bombing in Washington DC. When Chris Redfield and Rebecca Chambers track him down, they find him in a bar in Colorado, drunk and completely checked out. He wants nothing to do with the fight. Chris, who went through his own depression spiral in RE6 after losing his squad, essentially has to drag Leon back into action. People mime about Leon being an alcoholic, and yeah, he carries a flask. He's shown drinking heavily, but what you're actually looking at is PTSD and self-medication. The man has no support system, no family, they were all killed when he was a child, no lasting relationships, Ada vanishes every time they meet, no friends who aren't also traumatized soldiers. He is alone. He has been alone since he was 21. Now ask yourself, what happens when a man whose entire identity is built on "someone needs me to keep going" runs out of reasons to keep going? That's where RE9 picks him up. October 2026. 28 years after Raccoon City, Leon is 49, and for the record, people got confused about his age because Capcom's marketing said 30 years after Raccoon City, but a calendar visible in Leon's reveal trailer shows Saturday, October the 10th. October the 10th, 2026 is a Saturday. October the 10th, 2028 is a Tuesday. The game is set in 2026. Leon, born 1997, is 49. That's confirmed. He's not just older, he's dying. Raccoon City Syndrome. Let me break down what this actually is, because it's honestly one of the most clever pieces of lore Capcom has ever written. During the 1998 outbreak, the T-virus wasn't only transmitted through bites, it was partially airborne. Every survivor of Raccoon City inhaled it. Their immune system suppressed it. It went dormant. But the virus, like all progenitor-based strains, kept evolving inside the host, slowly building immunity to the antibodies keeping it in check. The wiki and in-game files describe 4 stages. Stage 0, dormant, you don't even know it's there. Stage 1, activation. Black bruise-like marks appear, mild coughing, fatigue. Stage 2, the marks spread to internal organs, numbness, vomiting blood. Stage 3, terminal, full body coverage, severe pain, death within 1 to 2 hours. Leon has been carrying this thing since he was 21. The event that started his nightmare is now literally finishing the job from inside his body, and there is no recorded case of anyone surviving it. What makes this so narratively brilliant is that it's not a new monster to fight, it's not a boss with a weak point. It's time, it's consequence. Every hero in every game walks away from the explosion, and we never ask what the explosion left inside them. RE9, he'll ask that question. And then there's Grace Ashcroft. Grace is an FBI analyst. Her mother was Alyssa Ashcroft, a journalist who survived the original Raccoon City outbreak and was later murdered. Grace's connection to Raccoon City is inherited, not lived. She's smart, capable, but she's not a soldier. Her default gameplay is first person, limited ammo, shaking aim, stealth heavy. She's terrified, and you feel it. Leon's dynamic with her isn't romance, it isn't buddy cop banter, it's a dying veteran and the next generation. There's a scene where Leon opens up to Grace about what Raccoon City was really like. He talks about the horror of it. He asks her to finish the mission if he fails. For a man who spent 28 years joking his way through trauma and never once admitting vulnerability, this is seismic. And when he gives her his weapon, he's not just handing her a gun, he's acknowledging something he never acknowledged before, that he might not make it, that someone else has to carry it forward. Go back to what I said in 1998. Leon kept going because Sherry needed him. In 2026, he keeps going because Grace needs him. Same pattern, same core. Except this time, his body is actively shutting down while he does it. So RE9 brings Leon back to the literal ruins of Raccoon City, and he doesn't waste the opportunity. The game forces him to confront the physical remnants of an organisation that created him. Let's talk about the HUNK encounter, because this might be the most hyped moment in the entire game. Deep in the ARC facility, the massive underground lab beneath Raccoon City ruins, Leon runs into a soldier the game only calls the Commander. At first, he seems like a tough elite enemy. Then things escalate. He dodges a bullet, tanks the next one, spears Leon through reinforced glass. And if you lose the fight, he does a signature neck snap that long-term fans immediately recognised. It's HUNK, Mr. Death himself, the legendary Umbrella operative who has never appeared in a mainline story boss fight until now. The evidence? Same voice actor as RE2 remakes HUNK, Keith Silverstein. If you check his body after the fight, his glove is missing and his hand shows Raccoon City Syndrome marks, meaning he's also a 1998 survivor. His axe's item description says it has taken countless lives, and here's the kicker. When you leave and come back, his body is gone. Mr. Death, refusing to stay dead. Now, the community is split on whether this is the real HUNK or a clone. The game is heavily themed around cloning. Zeno, the main antagonist figure, shares Wesker's voice actor, physical appearance, and combat abilities, but the game never confirms he's literally Albert Wesker. Files reference memory transfers via blood. Fan theories range from Wesker clone to Wesker child to Jake Muller under a new identity. The game deliberately leaves it a mystery. A DLC bait? Almost certainly. But here's what matters for Leon's story, what these encounters mean thematically. HUNK is Umbrella's perfect soldier, the human unit never killed. He survives through obedience, efficiency, and loyalty to the mission. Leon is the opposite, a man who survives through stubbornness, empathy, and refusing to stop caring even when it costs him everything. Leon beating HUNK while actively dying from a virus isn't just a cool boss fight, it's a thesis statement. purpose beats programming. And Zeno, he's a ghost wearing Wesker's face, a reminder that you can destroy Umbrella, put a bullet in Wesker, burn the labs, nuke the city, and the Shadow still finds a way to return under new skin. Leon has been fighting Umbrella's fallout his entire adult life, and here, in the ruins of the city where it all started, while the virus that city put inside him is killing him, he's still fighting. That's not an action movie, that's a tragedy being held together by one man's refusal to sit down. Alright, heavy spoilers here. If you haven't finished RE9, skip to my timeline for the theory section. Everyone else, let's go. The climax brings Grace and Leon beneath Raccoon City to face Zeno and the game's true villain, Dr. Victor Gideon, a former Umbrella researcher who discovered the Raccoon City Syndrome strain and has been running illegal experiments. Grace reaches a terminal and is asked to input the answer to Oswald Spencer's final wish. Spencer, the CEO of Umbrella, the man whose ambition started everything, left behind one last project called Elpis. In the canon ending, Grace recalls interview footage of her mother, Alyssa, speaking with Spencer, where he expresses regret for what Umbrella became. He refers to this project as Hope. Grace types Hope. Elpis is released. Zeno grabs a sample, injects himself, expects power. Instead, the Raccoon City Syndrome marks disappear from his skin. Elpis isn't a weapon, it's a cure, an antiviral targeting progenitor-based viruses. Grace injects Leon, and for the first time in 28 years, the T-virus that has been quietly killing him from the inside is gone. Restored, Leon fights Victor Gideon, who mutates using the Nemesis parasite, across a collapsing facility, and Leon ultimately destroys him. Grace and Leon collapse in the facility. They accept they're done. Then sunlight breaks through. Chris Redfield's men pull them out. They survive. The mid-credits scene, Grace is on the phone with Leon. Emily, a child who had mutated during the game, had been cured by Elpis. Grace has become her guardian. Meanwhile, Sherry Birkin, who also had Raccoon City Syndrome, is shown smiling knowingly, implying Elpis can save her too. In the bad ending, Grace types destroy Elpis. No cure, no boss fight. Zeno pulls a long barrel revolver and shoots Leon point blank in the head. Credits roll with no epilogue, no mid-credit scene. It's clearly not canon, but it exists as a gut punch reminder of the stakes. Here's why Requiem is the most important game in Leon's entire story, and honestly, the most important game in the franchise for what it means going forward. Go back to 1998, Leon survived because Sherry needed him. In 2026, Leon survived because Grace chose Hope. Not because of his strength, not because of a roundhouse kick, because someone else cared enough to make the right choice. For a man who has been alone since he was 21, who was leveraged, abandoned, betrayed, and broken over and over, being saved by someone else's compassion is the ending he needed for 3 decades. And Capcom was smart enough to mirror the structure. In 98, Leon pushed through suicidal thoughts because a child depended on him. In 2026, Grace takes a guardianship of Emily, a child who depended on her. The cycle continues, the torch is passed, but this time, the person passing it actually gets to survive. Now, theory time. 3 things to watch for going forward. 1. Sherry, she's infected with Raccoon City Syndrome 2. Elpis can cure her, and the mid-credit scene implies it will. But Sherry always has residual G-virus traces from her childhood infection. If Elpis targets progenitor-based viruses broadly, does it neutralize the G-virus remnants too? Would she lose her regenerative abilities? That's a massive question for RE10. 2. HUNK. His body disappears. He had Raccoon City Syndrome, but he was still fighting. If his men recover an Elpis sample, which some players believe the post-credits tease implies, we could see a fully restored HUNK as a major player going forward. A 4 Survivor style DLC showing his escape from Ark feels like it's coming. 3. Leon himself. He's cured. He's alive. The ending sets up a potential reunion with Chris. But here's the question I want you to argue about in the comments. Should Leon come back for RE10? Or is Requiem the perfect ending? Because here's the thing, Leon has been fighting since he was 21, nearly 30 years. He was coerced into this life, he lost everyone, he drank to survive, he joked to avoid breaking. And for the first time, someone gave him a way out. He's cured, he passed the torch, he's free, let the man rest. But this is Resident Evil, and Leon Scott Kennedy has never been allowed to rest. So that's the full Leon Kennedy legacy, from a hungover rookie who couldn't save a gun shop owner's daughter, to a 49-year-old man who went back to that same gun shop and apologised to her bones. 28 years, one of the greatest character arcs in gaming. Drop your takes in the comments, Leon and RE10, or let him go. What do you think Elpis means for Sherry? Let's debate. If you haven't seen it, my full RE9 review is right here. I break down everything about the game, including the Grace vs Leon gameplay split and whether it actually works. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed.